Hey there, fellow asthma warriors. Living in Delhi NCR, it's an adventure, especially for our lungs. The air quality here
Yeah.
can be a real challenge, and we know that firsthand. So today, we're diving deep into how to navigate those challenges
Mhm.
and make breathing a bit easier.
What's fascinating is, while we can't control Delhi's air quality single-handedly, there's a lot we can do to minimize the impact on our health. We've got practical strategies, personal insights, and maybe even a few aha moments for you.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the enemy, air pollution. We hear those terms, PM2.5 and PM10, thrown around a lot. But what makes them so dangerous for people with asthma?
Well, imagine these microscopic particles as tiny ninjas, sneaking past your body's defenses and lodging deep in your lungs. We're talking smaller than human hair, so they bypass your nose hairs and everything. And once they're in your lungs, they cause inflammation, triggering asthma symptoms.
So it's not just about feeling uncomfortable, it's about long-term damage, too.
Exactly. And in Delhi NCR, our air quality frequently goes beyond what's considered safe, especially during winter. We often see AQI levels, that's the air quality index,
Yeah.
way above the healthy limits.
That explains the winter woes
Yeah.
a lot of us experience. Delhi's pollution has a lot of sources, right? It's not just one thing we can point to.
Right. It's a mix of things. Vehicle emissions, industrial activity, construction dust, and even seasonal factors like stubble burning in neighboring states. It's like a perfect storm for our lungs.
Okay, so it's complex, but that doesn't mean we just give up. Before we get to the solutions, I think it's helpful to break down the specific triggers we face in Delhi NCR. It's not just the general pollution.
You're right. There are layers to this. We've got seasonal smog, dust for constant construction, and even those sudden weather fluctuations. A temperature drop or a downpour can trigger an asthma flare-up just as easily as high pollution.
And don't forget about pollen and allergens. Springtime in Delhi can be beautiful,
Yeah.
but brutal for our lungs.
Absolutely. And it's not just what's outside. We've got indoor triggers too. Poor ventilation, cooking fumes, mold, pet dander. Even things we might not think about can contribute.
Okay, so it can feel like a bit of a minefield out there. But, we're big believers in making this information as relatable as possible. Siddhant, our founder, actually lives with asthma right here in Delhi NCR. He shared some of his experiences and strategies with us.
That's so valuable. Hearing how someone manages asthma in this environment makes it much more real and actionable.
He mentioned that while pollution is the biggest culprit, Delhi's weather patterns also play a huge role in his asthma. He's got different challenges in summer versus winter, and his routine actually changes with the seasons.
That makes a lot of sense. Individual triggers can be amplified by the environment. So what are some of the things Siddhant does to adapt?
Well, he swears by his air purifier at home,
Yeah.
especially during those high pollution months. And he never leaves the house without a mask when the air is bad, particularly in heavy traffic or construction zones.
Those are smart steps for anyone in Delhi, really. But what about those different seasonal challenges?
He said that summers are generally okay for him, but winters are a different story. The combo of cold air and high pollution really gets to him. He even sometimes has to work from home
Yeah.
during the worst periods to minimize exposure.
That highlights something important. Managing asthma is not about finding one perfect solution. It's about being adaptable and making adjustments based on the environment and your personal triggers.
Exactly. And Sasant also stressed the importance of those regular pulmonologist visits, especially during winter and the rainy season, when his asthma tends to act up more.
I'm curious, what kind of adjustments does he make in his routine for winter versus summer? Does he change his medication or anything like that?
So you mentioned that in the summer, he mostly sticks to his usual routine with regular checkups. But come winter, his doctor usually steps up his treatment, and he's also much more vigilant about monitoring the AQI and avoiding going outside when it's really bad.
It sounds like he's really proactive, especially during those challenging times. That kind of vigilance can make all the difference.
It definitely does. But,
Yeah.
not everyone has the same experience. Some people find summers harder, especially with dust and pollen allergies. It really depends on the individual.
Absolutely, which is why it's so important to understand your own triggers and work with your doctor to develop a personalized approach. There's no one-size-fits-all solution
Right.
when it comes to asthma management, especially in a place like Delhi.
Okay, so we've gotten a good grasp of the challenges and heard a bit about Siddhant's approach. Now, how about we shift gears and talk about what all of us can do to breathe a little easier in Delhi? What's our action plan?
Let's empower ourselves with some knowledge and practical tools. First up, air quality awareness. We've mentioned it before. But those AQI apps
Hmm.
are your best friend in Delhi NCR.
I'll admit, I used to just glance at the AQI
Hmm.
and think, oh, it's bad again. But I'm starting to realize that these apps offer so much more detail than just a number.
They really do. They break down the specific pollutants, which can help you understand how the air quality might affect you personally, for example. Some people are more sensitive to PM 2.5, while others react more strongly to ozone or nitrogen dioxide.
So it's not just about avoiding going outside when the AQI is high. It's about understanding what's in the air and how it might trigger your specific asthma triggers.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, and these apps give you that power to make informed decisions, for instance. You might decide to wear a mask, even if the overall AQI is moderate, simply because the levels of a particular pollutant that bothers you are elevated.
That's a great point. Speaking of masks, we can't just grab any old mask and expect it to protect us from Delhi's air.
Right.
I've seen people wearing those surgical masks, but I have a feeling those aren't cutting it.
You're right to be skeptical. Those surgical masks are designed to protect others from your germs, not the other way around. To filter out those tiny, harmful PM 2.5 particles, you need a mask with a much tighter seal and a special filter. That's where N95 and N99 masks come in.
Okay, so let's break that down. What exactly makes N95 and N99 masks different?
These masks have a special filter that can trap at least 95% N95 or 99% or 99 of airborne particles, including those tiny PM 2.5 ninjas we talked about earlier. Think of them as your personal air purifiers for when you're out and about.
That makes sense. But honestly, wearing those masks for long periods can be a bit uncomfortable, especially in Delhi's heat. Any tips on making it more bearable?
I hear you. They're not the most fashionable accessory, but they are essential for protecting your lungs. Look for masks with adjustable straps to ensure a snug fit, and consider trying different brands to find one that feels most comfortable for you. And remember, it's always better to be safe than sorry, even if it means a little discomfort.
You're right, it's a small price to pay for healthier breathing.
Yeah.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about creating a clean air zone at home. We mentioned air purifiers a few times, but what should people look for when choosing one?
They can be a bit of an investment, so it's important to choose wisely. Absolutely. The key feature you want is a HEPA filter. HEPA stands for High Efficiency Particulate Air, and these filters are designed to trap those tiny harmful particles we keep talking about. Think of them as super-powered filters that can capture even the smallest of the small.
So when shopping for an air purifier, always look for that HEPA label. Are there any other things to keep in mind?
Yes. Consider the size of the room you want to purify. Air purifiers come in different sizes, and you want to make sure you get one that's appropriate for the space. Also, check the filter replacement schedule. Filters need to be replaced regularly to maintain optimal performance, so factor that cost into your decision. And don't be fooled by fancy bells and whistles. The most important thing is that HEPA filter.
It's like buying a car. You want to focus on the engine,
Yeah.
not just the shiny exterior.
Exactly. Now, while we're on the topic of indoor air quality, let's not forget about ventilation. It seems like a small thing, but it can make a huge difference.
I know I often forget to open my windows, especially during those high pollution months. But you're right, fresh air is important.
It really is. Proper ventilation helps remove stale air and pollutants from your home. Open windows whenever possible, especially after cooking or cleaning, to let those fumes escape. Even using the exhaust fan in the kitchen can significantly improve indoor air quality. And if you have an air conditioner, be sure to clean the filters regularly, as dirty filters can actually recirculate dust and allergens back into the air.
So it's all about creating a flow of fresh air and minimizing those indoor pollutants. Makes sense. Now, besides those environmental factors, what are some lifestyle choices we can make to support our lungs and manage our asthma?
Let's talk about diet. You are what you eat, and that applies to our lungs too. An anti-inflammatory diet can be a game changer for people with asthma.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What exactly does an anti-inflammatory diet look like? Give us the specifics.
It's all about focusing on foods that help reduce inflammation in the body. Think colorful fruits and vegetables, packed with antioxidants. Fatty fish, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, like salmon and mackerel. Nuts and seeds like flax seeds and walnuts, and even spices like turmeric and ginger. These foods can help calm those irritated airways and boost your overall health.
So it's not just about avoiding trigger foods. It's about actively incorporating foods that support lung health. I love that approach. Now, I know exercise is crucial for everyone, but it can be a bit tricky for people with asthma,
Yeah.
especially in Delhi, What's your advice on staying active without triggering those symptoms?
You're right. Exercise is essential for overall health, but we need to be smart about it. On days when the air quality is good, take advantage and enjoy those outdoor workouts. But when pollution levels are high, it's best to opt for indoor activities.
Okay, so what are some good indoor exercise options? I get tired of just walking around my house.
There are so many possibilities. Yoga, Pilates, swimming in an indoor pool, dancing. These are all great ways to get your heart pumping without exposing yourself to polluted air. And don't forget about online workouts. There are tons of free resources and apps that offer guided workouts. For all fitness levels and interests, you can literally work out in your living room without spending a dime.
That's a great reminder. I tend to think of exercise as something I have to do outside, but there are so many options right at my fingertips. Now, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked. Stress management. We all know stress is bad for us, but how does it specifically affect asthma?
Well, when we're stressed, our bodies release hormones. That can actually trigger inflammation in the airways, making asthma symptoms worse. It's like a vicious cycle. Stress leads to inflammation, which leads to more asthma symptoms, which leads to more stress. Breaking that cycle is crucial for managing asthma effectively.
So it's not just about avoiding stressful situations, which isn't always possible. It's about finding healthy ways to cope with stress. What are some practical stress-busting techniques our listeners can try?
There are so many options, and the best one is what works for you. Deep breathing exercises can be incredibly calming and also help strengthen your lungs. Yoga and meditation are fantastic for calming the mind and reducing stress hormones. Spending time in nature, even just sitting in a park, can have a profound effect on your well-being. And don't underestimate the power of laughter. Watch a funny movie, hang out with friends who make you laugh. Laughter truly is the best medicine.
I love those suggestions. It's a good reminder that stress management doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. It's about finding those little moments of peace and joy throughout the day.
Exactly. And even small steps towards stress management can make a big difference in your overall health and asthma control.
Now, we've talked a lot about lifestyle choices, but let's not forget the most important element, medication. It's easy to get complacent, especially when you're feeling good.
Yeah.
But consistency with your medication is key, right?
Absolutely. Think of your prescribed medications as your asthma-fighting superheroes. They're there to keep your airways open and prevent inflammation, whether it's your daily controller inhaler or your rescue inhaler for emergencies. Be sure to take them as prescribed by your doctor. Don't skip doses or stop taking them without consulting your healthcare provider.
And don't hesitate to reach out to your doctor. If you have any questions or concerns about your medication, they're there to guide you and make sure you're getting the best possible care. Speaking of healthcare providers, let's talk about those regular checkups with your pulmonologist. Why are those visits so important?
These checkups are like taking your car in for regular servicing. They help prevent major problems down the road. They allow your doctor to monitor your lung function, assess your overall asthma control, and make any necessary adjustments to your treatment plan.
It's like having a personal mechanic for your lungs, making sure everything is running smoothly.
Exactly. Don't wait for things to get worse before seeking medical attention. Regular checkups can help catch issues early on and ensure you're staying on top of your asthma management. And these visits are also a great opportunity to ask your doctor any questions you might have about your asthma, whether it's about new medications, lifestyle changes, or any concerns you're experiencing.
It's about building a partnership with your healthcare provider, working together to achieve the best possible outcome for your health. Now, we've talked a lot about individual responsibility, but let's not forget the role of government policies and initiatives in addressing the air pollution crisis in Delhi NCR. It's easy to feel powerless when you're battling pollution on a personal level, but there are bigger forces at play, right?
You're absolutely right. This is a complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach. While personal strategies are essential, we also need systemic changes to address the root causes of pollution. We've mentioned initiatives like GREP, the Graded Response Action Plan, and the odd-even scheme. But those are just a few pieces of the puzzle.
Okay, so let's talk about those initiatives for a minute. What exactly is GRPD, and how does it work? I've heard the term, but I'm not sure I fully understand it.
GREP is basically a set of emergency measures that kick in when pollution levels reach critical levels. It involves things like restricting construction activities, closing schools, and even implementing odd-even car rationing, where cars with odd and even number plates are allowed on alternate days. The idea is to reduce pollution sources when the situation gets really bad.
So it's like a temporary Band-Aid to alleviate the worst of the pollution. But what about long-term solutions? What else needs to be done to tackle this problem at its roots?
That's the million-dollar question. We need a combination of approaches. Investing in public transportation is crucial so people have a viable alternative to driving their own cars. Promoting clean energy sources,
Right.
like solar and wind power, can significantly reduce emissions from power plants. Transitioning industries to cleaner practices and technologies is essential. And cracking down on illegal waste burning, which contributes significantly to air pollution, is paramount.
It sounds like it will require a lot of collaboration and commitment from different stakeholders. It's not just about individuals making changes, it's about governments, industries, and communities working together to create a healthier environment for
Exactly. It's about shifting from a reactive approach
Right.
to a proactive one, prioritizing long-term solutions that will create a cleaner, healthier Delhi for generations to come.
And while these changes might take time, it's important to stay informed, engage in constructive dialogue, and advocate for policies that prioritize clean air and public health. We all have a role to play in shaping a better future for ourselves and for Delhi.
Absolutely. Every voice matters. And together we can make a difference.
You know, it's remarkable how much information and insight we've packed into this deep dive.
It's truly empowering to see how much we can do to take control of our health, even in the face of challenging environmental conditions.
And we hope this episode has equipped our listeners with the knowledge and motivation to do just that.
It really is inspiring to think about how even small changes in our routines can add up to make a big difference in our overall health.
It's like those domino effects you see, where one tiny push can set off a whole chain reaction.
Exactly. And when it comes to managing asthma, in a place like Delhi NCR, those small changes can make a world of difference. You know, something we touched on earlier that I wanted to revisit is the importance of staying hydrated.
Ah, yes. Good old H2O. It's easy to forget, but it plays a crucial role in keeping our lungs happy.
I know I'm guilty of not drinking enough water sometimes, especially when I'm busy. But how does staying hydrated actually help with asthma? Think of it this way. The mucus in our airways needs to be thin and flowing to help trap those irritants and keep our lungs clear. When we're dehydrated, that mucus gets thick and sticky, making it harder to breathe. It's like trying to run a marathon through mud. It's just going to slow you down and make it harder to function.
That's a great analogy. So sipping water throughout the day
Yeah.
is almost like giving your lungs a little lubrication
Yeah.
to keep things running smoothly. I'm going to make a conscious effort to drink more water from now on.
I think we all could benefit from that. Now let's talk about another essential ingredient for good health. Sleep.
Sleep. The thing we all crave,
Yeah.
but never seem to get enough of. But for people with asthma, it's not just about feeling rested. It's actually crucial for managing symptoms, isn't it?
Absolutely. When we're sleep deprived, our bodies go into a bit of a stress mode. They start pumping out those stress hormones. And as we talked about earlier, those hormones can trigger inflammation in the airways, making asthma symptoms worse.
So getting enough sleep is almost like giving our bodies a chance to calm down and repair, which in turn helps keep our asthma in check. It's like hitting the reset button on inflammation.
Exactly. Think of those 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night as a gift to your lungs. It's a time for them to relax, rejuvenate, and build up their defenses against those pesky triggers.
You know, we've talked about so many different strategies for managing asthma, and it can feel a bit overwhelming at times. But what really helps me is knowing that I'm not alone in this journey. And that's where the Asthma Friend community comes in.
Absolutely. It's a space where people living with asthma can connect, share their experiences, find support, and learn from each other. It's like having a tribe of people who get it, who understand those daily challenges and triumphs that come with living with asthma in a place like Delhi NCR.
It's like having a support group, a cheering squad, and a source of inspiration all rolled into one. And sometimes, just knowing that you're not alone in your struggles can make all the difference in the world.
It really can. We encourage everyone listening to join the Asthma Friend community. Connect with others, share your tips, ask questions, and find strength in knowing that there are others out there who are navigating this journey right alongside you.
And if you found this deep dive helpful, please share it with anyone who might benefit. Let's spread the knowledge, spread the support, and create a ripple effect of positive change. And don't forget to show us some love by rating our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Your support helps us reach more people and spread awareness about asthma. Until next time, stay informed, stay proactive, and keep breathing easy.